battery. So that energy can also be utilized. The braking energy can also be utilized if I use an AC system, okay, AC motor. So this is the complete architecture, and the torque of the left and right wheels can be provided by a gear ratio, okay, or otherwise I can have an electrical machine shaft to lower the speed of the entire wheels. So the architecture is the purpose of having this kind of an architecture is I can take a conventional car like a Maruti 800, etc., and I can change that Maruti 800 into an electric vehicle by implementing this kind of a component. What I want a battery and a motor. The first primary concept is that I want a motor. I want to select a proper motor. So how to select a proper motor? So I want to know the torque of the motor. So how to design the torque? How to calculate the torque? So the torque is nothing but force into the torque is nothing but rotational force, right? So let us say F is equal to ma, right? So what is the force required for moving the particular mass with a particular speed? So that is nothing but force equal to m into a, mass into acceleration. If I have taken the radius into the picture, then that becomes a rotational force or nothing but a torque. So once you decide the torque, you can select a suitable motor. So before deciding the torque, you need what? You need to know what is the mass of your vehicle. So the primary problem in all the vehicle concept is you need to know how to reduce the total weight of the car. And you need to know what is the total capacity of the car. If you know these 2 points, and if you need to know the component weight, the self weight of the car, right? So based on the weight, you will be calculating the mass and at what speed I need to run the vehicle. Then that is nothing but the acceleration. So if you know the mass, if you know the acceleration, and you can calculate the force, and if you know the radius, the total rotational force, then I can decide the requirement of the motor. So if we decide the motor, let us say I'm calculating it for an AC motor, AC induction motor. So if I select an AC induction motor of 1 kilowatt, so if I want to charge, if I want to run that 1 kilowatt motor with the help of a battery of a 12 voltage, then I need to calculate how much voltage is required to recharge run the system. So in that way, I can calculate the requirement of the battery. I can calculate the topology of the inverter. I can calculate the current carrying capacity of the inverter, etc. So this is how you need to design the architecture of the entire system. Okay. So the control of hybrid electric vehicle, the term hybrid was a new terminology earlier. Now, the first patent of involving hybrid electric vehicle technology was filed by an American scientist, H. Piper, in the year 1905 itself. So in the year 2000, now the patent has become increased. In the year 2000, there were around like 23 patents in the concept of hybrid electric vehicle, and it consists of many configurations. For example, electric vehicle equipped with electrical battery. The hybrid means what? A combination of more than one, or combination of two, a combination of three. More than one can be called as a hybrid. If I have ICE and a motor, ICE and a battery, then it is a hybrid electric vehicle. And instead of a battery, if I replace the battery with a supercapacitor, then it is a new concept. If I replace the supercapacitor with compressed air energy storage system, or otherwise flywheels, or otherwise fuel cells, so each and every combination will be a new hybrid electric vehicle. Okay, so the concept of hybrid electric vehicle with ICE is mainly to overcome the disadvantages of pure electric vehicle. Because if you go for a pure electric vehicle, there may be a problem of long driving range. So that can be avoided if you go for a hybrid electric. Okay. So these are the components of an electric vehicle. You need a battery, you need a charging port, proper port, you need a proper chopper, electric traction motor, onboard charger, power electronics controller, thermal system for the cooling of the entire system, traction, battery pack, then transmission in the electric system. So this is the working principle of an electric vehicle. So this is the differential gear system, and these are all the two wheels. So the momentum can be gained with the help of running of this motor. So to run the motor, I can run it with the help of a battery. I cannot run the motor directly. Instead, what I'll do, I'll run it through a controller. because the motor speed can be controlled with the help of the motor controller. And the motor controller's input is coming from the speed pedal. Okay. And to charge the battery, I'll be using a battery. And to charge the battery, I'll be using the conventional method of charging. And directly I can give it to a battery for charging. And to support the auxiliary load, I'll be stepping down or stepping up to a particular voltage with the help of a chopper. And I can give it to an auxiliary battery. From the auxiliary battery, I can give it to the corresponding loads. So this entire system, we can call it as the components of an electric vehicle. So what is an electric vehicle? This is the conventional system wherein which you have a fuel, either petrol, gas or a diesel engine and the transmission system. In the case of a hybrid, apart from these two blocks, I have a motor run by a battery. Okay. And in the case of a battery electric vehicle, the fuel engine part is completely eradicated and the system will run only with the help of a battery motor generator set. And in the hybrid design, we have three types of hybrid: series hybrid, parallel hybrid, and series parallel hybrid design. So this is very important from the mechanical point of view, and it is very important to calculate the drivetrain component of an electric vehicle. Okay, so in this case of series hybrid design, the power flow at inverter and motor, and that will be a single power system. Okay, they may use this series hybrid design. And in the case of a parallel hybrid design, the power flow will be from two battery inverter motor generator set. Another one is from the engine transmission system, and then it can come to the driving wheels. So this is nothing but a parallel. In the case of a series parallel, it is nothing but ICE engine combined together with the battery system. Like the battery inverter motor set, and you have an engine set, and the inverter can run with the help of the IC engine through the generator. So this is nothing but series parallel hybrid design. So whenever you go for high complexity, then you can go for a series parallel hybrid design. And apart from the series and parallel hybrid design, this particular series parallel hybrid design is having more efficiency. Okay, there is a proven fact. So this animation shows the definition of electric vehicle and working of electric vehicle. So in the case of a hybrid electric vehicle, gasoline engine, from the petrol or a diesel, it may go to the engine and it can drive it. Okay. So after that, this electric motor generator set may charge a battery. Once the battery is fully charged, then the battery will run the system and this process will keep on going. And this is nothing but hybrid electric vehicle. It consists of two systems, combustion engine and a motor generator set. And in the case of a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, we'll replace the entire battery with a heavy sized battery, and we don't be having a combustion engine system, but instead we'll be having additional battery and that can be charged using a standard charging protocol. Okay. So hybrid, this slide is very important from the electrical engineering point of view, where we people to need to do concentrate on research aspect. So hybrid electric vehicle is distinguished from a standard ICE engine by four different parts, by means of selecting a proper storage of large amount of electrical energy. That storage could be either a battery, either it could be an ultra capacitor, a fuel cell, a compressed air energy storage system, a flywheel system, etc. Okay, and even in the battery, I can go for multiple options. Like I can go for a lead acid battery, lithium fluoride battery, lithium ion battery. The lead acid battery is very cheap. Lithium ion and lithium fluoride batteries, Li-5 batteries are costlier, but efficiency wise it is good. Okay, and of course you know the problem what we face in the case of an ultra capacitor and fuel cells. Fuel cell, it is very good, but again we need more space, and we need to find a proper methodology to release the hot water which is being generated from the fuel cell. And another option is I can go for different types of motor generators. I can go for a DC motor. Controlling of a DC motor is very easy. But the problem of DC motor is it may get heat up very often and we need to do frequent maintenance. Okay, and because of the heat which is being generated by the DC motor, it may spoil the corresponding drivetrain components used in the electric vehicle. Another one is induction motor. The advantage of induction motor is again the regenerative braking is possible. Okay. Another important one is permanent magnet synchronous motor. Another one is synchronous switch reluctance motor. The switch reluctance motor, it has both advantages and disadvantages. Let me tell the disadvantages first. The disadvantage is it has torque ripple problem. And again, the torque ripple problem can be rectified by proper selection of the stator rotor poles. S by R pole. If you select proper S by R pole, the torque ripple again can be rectified. Coming back to the advantages of switch reluctance motor, any motor can also be used as a generator, and SRM is like it can respond for even a small change. Because of that, SRG is being used in small wind turbine generator. Okay, so I can have multiple options to be used as a motor. I can go for BLDC as well, BLDC motor as well. Fine. Next, you come to the topologies. The topologies, I can have DC to DC converter, inverter, multi-level inverter, etc. Even in DC to DC converter, I need to choose proper DC to DC converter for stepping up or stepping down the voltage. And in inverter and in multi-level inverter as well, I need to generate proper pure sine waveform to run a particular induction motor. And the research, what we can use in these topologies, we can vary the configuration, reduce the number of switches, reduce the number of harmonic content. Okay, whenever you increase the number of switches, obviously I may get a pure sine waveform. But whenever you increase the number of switches, your current harmonic may get increased. So it should be a trade-off, like with the minimal use of switches, pure sine waveform, minimum harmonic content should be generated in the topology. So people can concentrate on developing a proper topologies for DC-DC converter as well as for the inverter. Another important research which many of the people doesn't concentrate on is instead of a semiconductor based devices, we can go for a wide bandgap devices. Like conventionally, all the inverters, converters may use only IGBT or a MOSFET as a switch. Instead, we can go for a silicon carbide or gallium nitride. The advantages of having silicon carbide or gallium nitride is silicon carbide and gallium nitride is having high energy, current density, and power density. It is very much required for an electric vehicle application, because during the starting of an engine or during whenever you apply a brake, and again if you run during the high acceleration or otherwise if you go for an uphill, it may take high current. That high current should be withstand by the switches used in the converter or an inverter. So that is possible if you use SiC or gallium nitride based devices. If anyone is listening this particular concept, CDAC Trivandrum is concentrating on SiC and gallium nitride devices. And if you are working on this, there is a call for proposal. You can very well propose your work, how to simulate or how to develop. There is no standard methodology or model available in MATLAB for SiC or GaN based devices. I think there may be an equivalent circuit available. I have tried with some certain IEEE papers of developing an equivalent circuit, and that can be modeled in a MATLAB. That may be possible, but there is no as such model available for GaN and SiC. I have not seen. Okay, so that you can concentrate. And next one is the hardware part. Here we have a very large research scope. The hardware part is like I can go for either microprocessor unit or a microcontroller unit or a separate DSP or DSC or ASIC or FPGA based devices for controlling the entire system. So the controlling the entire system involves, it is nothing but an electronic control unit, ECU. The conventional car may have ECU. The purpose of ECU is to control the entire system. And now the present technology is the ECU may control the starting of the motor itself, right? So the same concept to control the entire system. The system means the running of the motor, or otherwise BMS, the battery management system. You need a separate hardware device. and that could be any of the algorithm. And that algorithm used can be VVF, FOC, DTC, NeuroFuzzy, FLC, PSWAP, many more. So here also you can concentrate on. You have selected a particular hardware, and what type of control algorithm you use. You may go for a conventional DTC, okay, or otherwise FOC, or otherwise you can go for different FLC, fuzzy logic based system, or an ANN based system, or a particle swarm algorithm. Any kind of algorithm can be used for this kind of system. You can do what? You will be selecting a particular topology. You will be selecting 4 different algorithms, right? I have selected a motor, right? And you can tell which algorithm will be suitable for this particular type of a system. So that could be a very good research work. So you'll be suggesting to the reader what type of motor to be selected for a 3-wheeler or a 4-wheeler or a 2-wheeler, and what are all the control methodologies available, and which control methodology is the best methodology. So that could be the areas of interest for research. So if you see the architecture of an electric drivetrain, so far we have commonly discussed about the drivetrain, and if you talk in specific about hybrid electric drivetrain, it consists of internal combustion engine, generator, a converter. You have a inverter, then the motor, and these processes can be a single stage inverter or a multi-stage, depending upon your system, and the motor and the transmission system. Okay, and these are all there are different types of configurations: series hybrid, parallel hybrid, and complex. We have already discussed about this kind of system. So again, I'm telling you, after deciding the component in the previous architecture, I have not discussed about the drivetrain configurations. Okay, I have discussed only the possible avenues for research, right? Similarly, in this particular architecture, I have given you the hint about uh, the different architectures available. Again, your control algorithm can be implemented for series parallel hybrid, and a complex system, and you can compare which is better, which architecture will be performing better in a particular algorithm. Okay, so these are all some of the research avenues. So the major requirements of hybrid electric vehicle propulsion is it should have high instant power and high power density. So the first point can be satisfied with the help of proper choosing of a switch. Okay, proper selection of a switch. Even though if it could be of a SI based devices, it should have the high current carrying capacity. The problem with high current carrying capacity is you need to invest more, or you need to accommodate more heat sink. So heat sink may add a weight or add weightage to the entire PCB. It may be costlier also. You need a proper design methodology for designing the heat sink. We have a lot of problem in it. And if you want high power and high instant power density, you need to bother about di by dt and dv by dt of a particular switch. Okay. And the second major point, these points what I have shown is individually a research topic. The high torque at low speed for starting and climbing, as well as a high power at high speed for cruising. So this is a very complex terminology. What I want as a motor vendor is I want to give it to an electric vehicle which should have high torque but low weight. So this is a contradictory factor. It should be like it's in a robo machine. We have to have a robo machine with high torque, but weight should be of a minimal value. The same thing I need to give it for an electric vehicle. And it should operate for a very wide range of speed. It includes constant torque and constant power region. In the 4-quadrant operation, it should operate in constant torque and constant power region. And it should have fast torque responses. It is a very important terminology. A high efficiency over the wide speed and torque ranges, a high efficiency for regenerative braking if in case I'm using an AC motor, a high reliability and robust vehicle. High reliability in the sense if I purchase a vehicle, I fit it and run it, I should not bother about that vehicle for a minimum of 10 to 15 years, right? That is the minimal requirement. And the O&M cost should be very less. Operating and maintenance cost should be very less. Okay. So the current areas of research is I need to reduce the mass, decrease material and manufacturing cost, improving the hardware, and battery, I need to go for an alternative. One of the best alternative is I can go for nickel metal hydride battery. Okay. Lead acid battery are the one which is being used by the people. Again, lead comes under ROS compliance. As you all know, ROS is resistance of hazardous substances. Lead comes under lead, mercury, cadmium comes under ROS compliance. Cadmium also, nickel cadmium battery is also a very good, but we should not use that. And people now they are using lithium ion based battery, but it is very costly. You need to use array of lithium ion battery, and the advantage of lithium-ion battery is the less weight. Okay, I have given the advantages of battery, and this slide will be very interesting. What are the degrees of hybridization available? So there are 5 characteristics of hybridization. Automatically stops and starts the engine in stop and go traffic. Like earlier days, we have used Maruti Steam, right? It is a press button system. Even now, we have two-wheelers coming under the category of automatic stop and stop. I'm talking about four-wheeler. So this is a basic hybrid that we call it as a micro hybrid. Okay. If it uses regenerative braking and operates above 60 volt, and if it uses electric motor to assist the combustion engine, then it can be called as the mild hybrid. And if it drives only with the help of electric motor, then it can be called as a full hybrid. Okay. So it has a automatic stop, regenerative braking concept, electric motor alone, full hybrid. If you have a plug-in hybrid system and it gets recharged while running, and if it can be used for long running, then it can be called as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Okay. So the electric vehicle types: plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, extended range electric vehicle, battery electric vehicle. So for the researchers and for the students, if you want to give projects to the students, what you can do is like you can ask the student. You have in your college, you might be having a local transportation system, right? From the hostel to the canteen, from the canteen to your college, etc. There you can do what a small vehicle which can hold people of 4 or 6 in number, and that can be powered with the help of a solar PV. You can do it by your own. You can take an auto rickshaw. You can take the auto rickshaw, remove the roof with a solar roof, okay, and remove that engine. Don't replace. Don't attach. Okay, remove that entire engine with a motor. And for that, you need to calculate the self weight and the band and the total weight requirement. Based on that, you calculate the motor and put that motor run with the help of a battery. And battery, you can also use the battery which is being used in the auto rickshaw, or otherwise you can go for a lead acid battery or a lithium ion battery or a nickel metal hydride battery. Depends. Okay, depends upon your investment. This you can give it as a simple project. Secondly, instead of charging the battery with the conventional grid, as you have a rooftop, when the rooftop is being covered with the help of a 1 kilowatt solar panel, two 445 kilowatt, 445 watts, you can keep it. Okay, depending on the size again, you can range extend it, and through a controller, through a DC-DC converter, you can charge that battery, right? It is more than sufficient. It can be given as a single project to the students. Okay, so this can come under the category of battery electric vehicle, and you can do wonders in the motor side, right? Like you can use a DC motor, you can use a BLDC motor. If you implement AC motor, you convert that a DC which is coming out from a battery into an AC, and you can charge it. So these projects you can give it as a student as a mini project. So these things you need to know. Energy loss. What is the energy loss? Because while designing a system, I told you how to design a battery electric vehicle. So while designing a system, you need to know the losses and how to avoid the losses. So in a component, you may face losses in these aspects. Like you have a Dr. V. Ratnam is requesting to annotate the shared content. Should I do it? Should I approve? Rajshekhar, can you help me?
Yes, no, sir,
Okay.
you can continue, sir.
I think
Ratnam sir, any doubt
I
you want
think
to ask, sir?
Ratnam is having some problem. He's frequently going out and coming in. Anyway, please deal with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Okay.
energy loss you need to calculate properly. So assuming that you have an energy efficiency of 100% in the fuel tank, the energy losses are you have a standby loss, engine loss, driveline loss, aero loss, rolling loss, braking loss. So if you concentrate on any one losses, that could be your project work. You can concentrate on engine loss alone. How you can concentrate on engine loss? Just remove it. You can concentrate on driveline losses alone. How to concentrate on how to mitigate the driveline losses? You can replace it with the proper converters. You can replace it with the proper drivetrain component. For example, sorry, 1 second. Yeah. For example, 1 second, let me. Yeah. In the highway driving, you may have these kind of losses, like standby losses is minimized, engine losses is 77%, etc. So these losses can be minimized by eliminating the standby loss with the help of implementing micro hybrid. Okay. Second one, you can mild hybrid may reduces the braking losses, and full hybrid, as we are replacing the entire engine, full hybrid reduces this engine loss, etc. So these are all the ways in which you can concentrate on this particular system. Okay. So this is the energy loss calculation for a city driving for an electric vehicle. So batteries, motor loss is 10%. That's also we can reduce because now people are talking about IE4 motors. IE4 motor, if you see the efficiency of IE4 motor is 99.9%, almost like a transformer efficiency. Driveline losses is only 14%, and these are all the vehicle related losses. Okay, this is not in our hand. Maybe we can reduce this braking losses. These rolling losses can also be reduced. One of the research what we do is like we're implementing gyro sensors and we're trying to reduce these particular losses. Okay, if anyone is interested in this area of research, I can help you. And if you calculate the efficiency of the conventional vehicle and electric vehicle, this slide will compare the two parameters. So from the generation, transmission, plug to wheels will be 23% efficiency. If you take refinery, transmission, and pump to wheel will be 13% efficiency. So in the case of battery electric vehicle, the efficiency would be 23%. In the case of a conventional vehicle, the efficiency would be only 13%. And again, these losses can also be minimized, like GTD losses can also be minimized. So far we have discussed about the different types of electric vehicle, what are the configurations of electric vehicle, and what are the research avenues in the electric vehicle technology, and how we can implement solar PV system in the electric vehicle concept. And another important concept is how to manage the battery, because battery is the main source of energy in an electric vehicle. And to manage that, you need to have a separate battery management system that has to be incorporated in the controller or a hardware, or as you should have a separate IC for it. So that can be done by knowing these terminologies. You should know what is the state of health, state of charge, depth of discharge, capacity, energy, autonomy, specific energy, specific power. Autonomy is something a very important terminology. If you know the autonomy, you know how much money should be invested for a battery. Autonomy is without charging the system, how many hours my battery will run. So that will be calculated for calculating the autonomy of the battery. If I have an autonomy of 8 hours, meaning is I can run the vehicle without recharging it for 8 hours. So if I have one autonomy is 8 hours or autonomy is 24 hours, if I have autonomy 24 hours, I need to put more battery. Okay, so that the number of batteries, the capacity of the battery is required for calculating the battery management system for monitoring the parameters of the battery. So overall, the objective of hybrid electric vehicle is to maximize the fuel economy, minimize fuel emissions, minimize propulsion in the system, maintain acceptable performance with reasonable cost. At this point of time, still it is under research to call an electric vehicle a low cost vehicle, okay, and reduce the total weight or self weight of the car. These are all the main objectives. So, the main advantages of having electric vehicle is we can go for regenerative braking, reduction in engine and vehicle weight, fuel efficiency is increased, emissions are decreased, etc. These are very common examples. So let me stop here. If you have any doubt, I can tell you. The next topic would be how I can integrate the motor component with the help of renewable energy sources, and how this can also be connected to the grid. So with this, I have a let me have a break. If you have any doubts, I can answer your questions.
Thank you, sir, for the nice session. Participants, if you have any doubts, you can unmute and ask, or else you can post in the chat box. The participants, if you have any doubts, you can unmute and ask, or else you can post the doubts in your chat box. We will ask on behalf of you. So there is one question in chat box, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. SRG is the replacement of gear transmission system. So Ganesan has asked, sir.
SRG is the replacement of the motor. SRG is switched reluctance generator. Instead of BLDC motor, instead of AC induction motor, we can replace with switch reluctance generator.
Okay, sir. And he also asked that.
Motor, sorry, switch reluctance motor, not a generator. Switch reluctance motor.
Sir, he also asked that, can you explain the complex system once again?
Can you explain the what complex system?
Ganesan, sir, can you specific the answer, Ashin? Can you explain the complex system once again? Can you specifically tell what complex system?
You mean the series parallel or parallel hybrid complex system? Hybrid parallel. Hybrid. So this is the series parallel hybrid system. This is the driving wheel. Okay, so the driving wheel will be supported normally by a transmission system. Okay, the transmission system will be supported or run with the help of a motor, and motor will get its power from the battery basically. And if it is a DC motor, directly it can control the motor to a converter. If it is an AC motor, it will be converted with the help of an inverter and run. A motor will run and it will run. This is in the case of a series hybrid system, right? In the case of a parallel hybrid system, so from the battery it will come. If the battery is not having enough charge, then the engine will take over and it will help, and it will be helpful for the transmission of the entire system. This is called parallel. In the case of hybrid, here it won't, in the case of parallel, it won't support the inverter, right? It won't support the inverter in the case of parallel, but the two things will run in parallel without helping each other. In the case of a hybrid, if the battery is not sufficient enough to run the motor, the engine will take over. So once the engine take over, the entire system will, the transmission system will be controlled by the engine. During that time, the generator may gain some energy and it may charge the battery, and the battery will regain and it will run the motor again. So in the case of a hybrid design, this engine may support the battery to charge it again, and once it gets charged, this will cut off and the battery will run the motor. Okay, hope I have answered. If you have any doubts, again you can ask me.
Yes, sir. One more question from the chat box, sir, from Prabhat Kumar. Which hybrid system is widely used?
That depends upon the manufacturer. See, they normally can you explain the complex system once again? What is the question? Which hybrid system widely used? That depends on the manufacturer. Normally, they don't disclose the hybrid system. It all depends upon the type of motor we use. For example, in Maruti, I forgot the name. Ciaz, yeah, Maruti Ciaz, they are using a hybrid system, and they are claiming that it is a fuel efficient car. How? During the highway, automatically it may switch it to a battery, and during the normal run, during the traffic, it may switch it to the engine part. And once the battery is drained, it may charge with the help of the engine system. So in fact, this hybrid design is very costly, right? So more depending upon the type of the motor, I can go for the different types of configuration. Any other question?
Sir, I think that's all the question is there, sir. Anyone having doubts, you can unmute and ask, or else you can post in the chat box. Sir, I think there is no other question, sir.
Okay, Rachaya. What time I should come back?
So we have planned the second session at 11:45 to 1:15, sir. Can we start at 11:30 to 1, sir?
Sorry?
We have one more question is in the chat box, sir, now. Can I ask the question, sir?
I can see in hybrid system, more economical and efficiently motor use. Yes, of course.
Yes, sir. So we have planned at 11:45 to 1:15, sir, second session.
11:45.
Yes, sir, 11:45 to 1:15.
Ah.
Shall we start at 11:30 to 1, or we can stick to 11:45 to 1:15, sir?
No, what time is the first break? I thought it is 11 o'clock.
No, sir, 11:30, sir, 11:30.
Oh, 11:30. Can I continue now?
Yes, sir, you can continue, sir. Yes, sir.
I thought 11 o'clock and I left a break.
No, sir, 11 to 11:30 and 11:45 to 1:15.
Okay, I have still half an hour, right?
Yes, sir, you can continue.
Okay, then I'll start my presentation.
Yes, sir, okay, sir. There are a few more questions also there in the chat box. Sir, we can see it now, or we can take it together.
I'll take it together later.
Yes, sir, okay, sir.
Sorry, I thought it is 11 and I stopped in between.
No, sir, no, sir. You can continue.
I was talking about the drivetrain components of an electric vehicle. So these are all the drivetrain components of an electric vehicle, right? Like I should select proper electric motor, and as well as I have to control the motor and electric energy storage system, hybrid power unit, transmission. So these drivetrain component will add cost to the entire system. Okay. So while selecting the drivetrain component, care must be taken for selection mainly for two reasons. One is I need to bother about the efficiency. Second, I need to bother about the performance. Third, I need to bother about the cost. Okay. So these are all the important parameters. So if you see the electric motor, there are different types of motors used. As I said, I can use an SRM switch reluctance motor. I can use a forklift motor, but forklift motor requires high voltage. For example, 96 voltage is required for a forklift, 96 to 192 voltage. But the forklift is used for an internal operation, so we no need to bother. Similarly, the forklift it won't operate in much speed, maximum 30 kilometers per hour, not even 30 kilometers, 20 kilometers per hour. So I no need to bother about the type of motor which is being used in the forklift. And also I can use a hub motor. Normally BLDC motor is called as a hub motor. I can use a DC motor, hub motor. But the limitations in this DC motor and hub motor is it may get heat up very quickly. So the controller part I need to monitor properly to avoid the heat which is being generated by the motor. It may spoil the performance of that particular converter. And there are certain limitations of DC motor, like I need frequent maintenance. Okay. Due to these limitations, people mostly prefer AC motor, and even though it has disadvantages like I need to go for an inverter, it has an advantage of using regenerative braking concept. So people now, if you see the commercially available vehicle, most of the people, even Tesla, they are using induction motor for running the vehicle. So I can tell you the way in which I can control the electric car. So this is a DC motor. Let us say it is a forklift motor, 96-volt battery DC motor, which is being controlled by a DC controller. In the pedal, whenever you pedal it, the potentiometer will change its position depending on the pedal accelerator. Then this will control the DC motor. So this is a very simple PWM control. Okay. In the case of an AC motor, you need an inverter, right? So controller is nothing but an inverter. Battery will be DC. DC will be converted to AC. AC will run the AC motor. And the speed of the AC motor is being controlled by a accelerator or a pedal. Okay. And the motor components I can skip because you know this basics. I am skipping it. Fine. This is very important. What are the type of energy storage systems we can use? For research level, for the college level, for the students who are doing research, for the faculty who are doing PhD, I can prefer simple lead acid battery because your project is not in replacing the battery. Your research work is on replacing the engine with the help of a motor. So the lead acid battery may cost around like 3,000 rupees. Lithium ion battery for the same voltage, you need to keep array of lithium ion battery. It may come around like 10,000 to 12,000 rupees depending on the voltage and current rating. Okay. So batteries, if you go for research purpose, you can use a simple lead acid battery because we are not material scientists. We are all engineers, right? So we are concentrating on engineering aspects of an electric vehicle. Okay. The storage, we can see it later. You can store it either in the form of battery, you can store it in the ultra capacitor, you can store it in the flywheel, you can also use a fuel cell. It all depends. So mostly secondary batteries are mostly used for automotive systems. Okay. And the proper choosing selection of battery plays a major role. That part only you need to control. Okay. So these are all the challenges. And nickel metal hydride or lithium ion can be used. Ultra capacitors can be used. Flywheels can be used. Flywheels and all it can be used with a very less cost. It won't get affected by temperature, but it is bulky in size, and you need a separate space for keeping this spinning wheel, etc. So it may not be good for research aspect. Fine. So while selecting a motor, apart from selecting a motor based on the torque, right? So already we have discussed how to select a motor for an electric vehicle application. You remember F is equal to ma. That's it. Okay. Force is nothing but mass into acceleration. That is a linear force. Since you need a rotational force, you need to calculate the torque. That is a design calculation you need to bother. And another important thing is you cannot take a conventional motor and you cannot put it in a vehicle because you need a motor with high capacity but low weight. Fine. Apart from that, these parameters are very, very important. These input you have to give it as an input to the controller. How your motor will react when you drive at low speed. One. How your battery gets charged when you drive your vehicle at low speed. Okay. Low speed in the sense there are three ranges of speed. One is low speed, second one is high speed, third one is stop, parking. And fourth one is it can be called as a coasting, or otherwise it can be called as inching. Right? Inching or coasting operation is whenever you pedal, whenever you press the pedal, the engine will move to a particular speed. Either you remove your leg from the pedal or an accelerator, or you pedal properly so that it will run to a particular speed. But coasting is an operation wherein which it will move in an inch by inch way. That is called as an inching operation. And how your battery is getting charged while you drive the vehicle in a city driving and highway driving and uphill driving. Highway driving, no problem, it gets charged very easily. But during the city driving and uphill driving, it may take more time to charge your battery. So that is the challenge you need to face. Okay, so motor selection is important. Apart from motor selection, how the battery will respond to it, that is also very, very important, because charging and discharging the battery when driving at low speed, city driving, highway driving, uphill driving, and parking. These are all the important parameters. Apart from torque and force, you need to calculate for proper selection of the motor. So you know the concept of regenerative braking, like when the driver applies the brake, the motor will act as a generator and the kinetic energy will be stored in the form of electrical energy in the battery. Okay. So this regenerative braking concept will be very, very useful for range extended electric vehicle and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. And hybrid power units, there are 4 types of hybrid power units. I think one of you have asked a question in this hybrid power unit. There are 4 types of hybrid power unit. CIDI, this is the one which you can see very often in the conventional vehicle. Compression, ignition, direct engine, injection engines, spark ignition engines, gas turbines, fuel cells. Leave gas turbines, fuel cell, it is in infant stage. Spark ignition engines, for two-wheeler, you can see that. And for the conventional, very old vehicle, you can see the spark ignition engines. Most of the vehicle work in CD technology. Okay. I'll explain that. And transmission, there are 4 types of transmission. Again, the CVT is the latest technology, continuous variable transmission system. Okay. So how we are shifting the gear, right? So most of the system what we use now is CVT technology and automated shifted transmission system. In US, 99% of the people use only automated shifted transmission. Even though it is costly, in India, only few people may use automated shifted transmission. And another one is manual transmission. The very old vehicle, the Ambassador, Batmini vehicle, they use manual transmission. And another very old technology is traditional automated transmission with torque converter. All the 4 type of transmission system, you can use it for electric vehicle technology. That is the point I just want to stress. You can go for any kind of a transmission system. It will be fit for electric vehicle technology. Fine. Now we will see, as of now, we have discussed the architecture of electric vehicle, the drivetrain components of electric vehicle. And now we will see why converter or power electronics is important for an electric vehicle. So I have a battery and the battery should run a motor. In between battery and the motor, I should place a DC-DC converter. Okay. And when superconductors are the only storage system, it becomes too big and heavy. I can go for either fuel cell, battery, supercapacitor, or otherwise a hybrid storage system. I can either use battery or fuel cell, battery or supercapacitor. Any of the options are also possible in the electric vehicle technology. So here the power converters plays a major role, and generally for the passenger cars, 20 kilowatt to 100 kilowatt of power converters we need to design. It's a heavy sized, it's a power semiconductor device. So because of that, the main requirement of power semiconductor device which is being used for electric vehicle is it should have high current density, high energy density, and high power density. So I have given a block diagram here. Each and every block diagram is a research opportunity in electric vehicle technology. So broadly, it can be classified into AC to AC converter, DC to DC converter, AC to DC converter, DC to AC converter, right? Out of all this classification, the green one, the DC to DC converter is the mostly used converter for electric vehicle technology. Because even though I'm using an AC motor, the output from the DC to DC converter is given to the inverter, then it will run the motor. So primarily, I need a DC to DC converter to convert the voltage which is coming out of the battery. So basically, this DC to DC converter can be classified into buck converter, boost converter, interleaved converter, and multi-level converter. Okay, buck boost, right? Similarly, AC to DC and DC to AC, we have many classification. When this DC to AC will come into the picture? So this DC to AC, when I give input from the battery to the grid, then I can go for DC to AC converter, like vehicle to grid technology. If I have grid to vehicle technology, then I go for AC to DC converter, right? And within the vehicle, I may go for DC to DC converter and DC to AC converter. Similarly, AC to AC converter can also be used for vehicle to grid technology, right? So these are all the important converters available. And the electric vehicle converter requirements are it should be of a lightweight again, and it should have high efficiency, small volume. One of the important factor is low EMI, right? So since there are so many switches used in the vehicle, the electromagnetic interference which is being generated from the converter may spoil the ECU which is being used or spoil the converter which is being used in the electric vehicle. So this is very, very important. And low current function of the converter and how I'm controlling the DC-DC converter. So these are all the main parameter or requirements of a DC-DC converter. Fine. So the DC to DC converters of an electric vehicle, like electric vehicle, hybrid electric vehicle, fuel cell electric vehicle, have different types of DC to DC converter. So it has two storage capability: main energy system and rechargeable energy storage system. So depending on where I'm using and depending on how I'm using, I can modify the requirement of a DC to DC converter. Okay. And these converter can be used to interface the elements in the electric powertrain either by boosting or chopping the voltage level. And in the case of automotive electronics or in the case of electric vehicle technology, the power converter which is used should be of a reliable, and apart from all these parameter, the current ripple and the voltage ripple should be very, very less, or it should be zero. Fine. So here this line tell you why DC-DC converter is very important. As I said, there we can use multiple storage system, right? So I have a motor here, electric motor. This is the transmission system. This transmission system is can be moved with the help of complete electric vehicle or electric motor. So this electric motor it consists of either DC to AC or let us say DC to AC converter. So I can get this DC either from battery or from supercapacitor or from fuel cell. Even though I'm getting to output is DC, I should have an individual DC-DC chopper or a converter, and it can be given to a common DC link. And from here, it may give it to a converter wherein which DC will be converted to AC and it may run the motor. Similarly, it can be a bidirectional one wherein which it can recharge the battery. So here the choice of choosing the selected, proper energy storage system depends upon the battery management system, right? So whichever is higher, that will be taken into consideration and that will be converted to AC and it can run the motor. At any point of time, I'll be giving supply to the motor by any of these sources. So here I read a proper control algorithm for choosing the proper storage system. And basically, there are two types of bridge converter, half bridge converter and full bridge converter. Again, in half bridge converter, we have bidirectional converter. So this is the topic of interest now. We have bidirectional converter, bidirectional dual active converter, or otherwise full bridge converter, or isolated bidirectional dual active DC-DC converter. So if you are interested in doing research in the converter side, you please concentrate on bidirectional converter, which is being used for AC induction motor for an electric vehicle. Okay, either it could be half bridge converter or a full bridge converter. So there are different types of bidirectional converter: non-isolated and isolated. Non-isolated, like it has again, it depends upon the motor and the requirement. Like for example, non-isolated converter, it cannot give protection to high electric voltages and also has more noise. In the case of isolated bidirectional converter, it can be used for high voltage properties and also cut down the unwanted noise and allows to produce clear DC sources output. Okay, even in some cases, non-isolated converters may be very useful. So it all depends on the engineer which type of converter is used for a particular application. Fine. So with this, I stop now. So the next topic could be smart grid and how the smart grid can be connected for electric vehicle system with having solar PV as an input. So let me stop here. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
Thank you, sir. So there are few questions in the chat box, sir. First one is that which type of battery is used in electrical vehicles and which is having best efficiency?
Lithium-ion battery is having best efficiency, but little costly. And another problem of lithium-ion battery is there are so many market players available for lithium-ion battery, and we don't know how to choose the proper lithium-ion battery. There are so many duplicate lithium-ion batteries are available. Even in lithium-ion, we have another option called as lithium fluoride, Li-5 batteries. Okay, if you are using it for college application, you can use a simple lead acid battery or nickel metal hydrate battery. That is also better.
Okay, sir. So next question is that which motor is convenient or efficient, AC or DC, and what is the function of converter? Both questions asked by Ganesh and sir.
See, AC motor is the best one because AC motor, when how to power up, if the battery voltage is 12 voltage, that can be converted to the required voltage by a converter, that is DC-DC converter, from DC to DC, DC to AC, and it can run a motor. Apart from that, if you have AC motor, it can have the regenerative braking principle. Whenever you apply a brake, that brake kinetic energy will be converted to electrical energy, and that can be used for charging the battery. DC motor is good, it is easy to control, but it requires frequent maintenance and it will generate more heat. So, in my opinion, induction motor is best, and also BLDC motor is also good.
Okay, sir. What is the function of converters?
Converter converts into a required voltage of a motor. Like, because I am from the battery, I have 12 volt or 24 volt or 48 volt. If the battery voltage is 48 volt, if the motor voltage is 120 voltage or 230 voltage, that 48 volt will be converted to 230 voltage with the help of a converter.
Okay, sir. Next question is by Prabhat Kumar. Why important DC to DC converter? Explain again, sir.
See, the DC-DC converter, in the car you have a multiple load, right? Your horn will be having a different voltage requirement. Your lights will be having a different voltage requirement. Your infotainment in the car may be of a different voltage requirement. So these are all called as auxiliary loads. Another voltage requirement is by the motor. So I need to supply voltage to the motor as well as to the auxiliary loads. So depending on the requirement, for example, if your system requires 24 volt, the 12 volt will be converted to 24 volt by a DC-DC converter. If your motor requires 120 volt, the 12 volt will be converted to 120 volt by your DC-DC converter. So this is the requirement.
Sir, thank you, sir. I think no other questions in the chat box, sir.
Okay.
And I think we can take a break, sir, and we can join back at 11:45 and we can start, sir.
Oh, yes, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, you can take a break. The room will be online only. We are going to end the meeting. So you can take a break and you can come back at 11:45. Thank you.